Keep working hard at whatever level you currently are. Keep your mind on technique and tactics, your energy on your workouts, and your vision on your dreams. This is a quote from John Danaher, widely regarded as the greatest or one of the greatest Brazilian Jiu Jitsu trainers in the world. And he was trained by Renzo Gracie, which is awesome, also trained my head professor, T. Mannon, here in Blacksburg, Virginia. And it's just such a great quote to help kick off this episode, 7 focus areas for older grapplers, because as older grapplers, depending on how active you were or were not before you came into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you've got to focus on where you are and not worry as much about where all these youngsters are from or these higher level belts or all that kind of stuff. So let's get into the 7 focus areas for older grapplers on this episode of the Jiu-Jitsu podcast. Welcome to the Jiu-Jitsu podcast. For anyone starting or struggling with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'm Kevin Pinnell, your salty 50-something-year-old blue belt, and I'm here to help you survive and thrive on the mats. So if you're ready to roll smarter, not just harder, let's get into it. All right, fellow midlife mat warriors, let's talk about keeping this aging chassis running smoothly, or as smoothly as we can, right? Because we're going to roll with, I'm in a college town, so I roll with young kids getting ready to go in the military, or they're wrestlers in college, or maybe they haven't worked out. So it's a mix of things. But for me, I'm 51. For you, if you're in your 40s or even 30s, it's different than when you were 20, 25, maybe even a teenager, and you could just jump right up from injuries. So we can't just rely on the class time, right? We got to do more than that. So here's the playbook that's helped me stay pretty consistent, reduce injury. I had injuries earlier in my jiu-jitsu career. I've been meniscus trimmed. I've broken my finger. I had many bloody noses, but that's kind of par for the course. But this helps when you're really getting after it. You're controlling that spazzy young white belt, or really getting after it with another blue belt, or the upper belts are just smashing you, to be able to go home and not cry so much and be able to move the next day. So the first thing for me that I did consistently before I started jiu-jitsu, but certainly do now, is strength training, right? It's kind of your armor against age. We got to do the traditional things: squat, deadlift, bench press, rows. These build push, pull, stand, all the movements that you're going to do in jiu-jitsu. These give you strength. And let's just dispel the myth: strength does 100% matter in jiu-jitsu. So old man strength also, if you've built it up over the years, and you will as you do jiu-jitsu more and more, your grip's going to get crazy strong, is very helpful, right? Form over weight, but start building weight up. Accessory work on those joints. There's a whole bunch of ideas. If you go to the Penalty Fitness Club YouTube channel that I host, we've got over 550,000 views, and I've got probably over 500 videos of exercises. So you can get ideas for workouts like 15 seconds at a time of things that I do, whether it's body weight, whether it's weights, any kind of resistance training is going to help. But don't go crazy, right? I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu typically now regularly 3 days a week. Every other day, I'm either doing weight training of some kind with the barbell, or kettlebell, or dumbbells, or body weight, or running, something outside. But you got to build up your strength, so you have to have some strength focus. So 2 to 3 sessions a week is good, in addition to whatever you're doing in jiu-jitsu. The second thing is mobility and flexibility. Just from working, you can be young and your hamstrings are tight. I can stretch more than my young kids because they don't stretch. And that's a testament to, I do yoga regularly. It's part of my routine. Today actually was my recovery day. So I did breath work, Wim Hof breathing, yoga, and cold plunge. And I really believe in that combo. But yoga, Pilates maybe, but yoga really. And the good thing is there's tons of free yoga programs. And actually there's Yoga for BJJ. That's actually a YouTube channel. And then there's another YouTube channel called Breathe and Flow. And he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And the focus is recovery after Jiu-Jitsu, right? Your hips are sore, your knees are sore, your muscles are tight, your neck is sore, and they're great stretches. And it really helps your recovery, right? Before class, get there a little early. I always get to class 15 minutes early unless I'm running late, because I'm going to move a little bit and stretch on my own before we even do either just warm-up rounds again, which is like going 40, 50%, at least it should be. Or doing warm-up movements, some stand-up, some pummeling with your arms. But I stretch beforehand, so I know that I'm even better. After class, that's when we can sit down and do our hurdler stretch, our static stretches, those kind of things. But you need to stretch every single day. So we're working on strength. We're going to work on mobility. And as you know, if you've just started jiu-jitsu, you've been in it now a few months or a year, there's conditioning and there's in shape cardiovascularly, and then there's jiu-jitsu in shape. So you got to do low impact stuff outside of there, right? Some cycling, maybe swimming, walking, or maybe high interval stuff like sprints, the assault bike. That the assault bike is the closest thing I've had to a really hard round where I'm just going and going, or burpees or something like that. And that's good to do as one of your workout days outside of jiu-jitsu. The other thing that I have found really good for my cardiovascular, particularly my respiratory, is Wim Hof breathing. So I do 3 rounds where you breathe in and out 30 times, and on the 30th, you hold your breath. First round, you do that for a minute, breath hold, then a minute and a half for the other 2 rounds. I do that at least 3 or 4 times a week, and I have felt a difference in my lung capacity. I'm not really winded, even though I roll hard. After class, where I used to be just a mess. And I've also overall, which I'll talk about, I stay more hydrated, I feel better, sleep better, that kind of stuff. But Wim Hof breathing has really made a difference. It's also, I've noticed a jump in my VO2 max. I'm 51 years old. My VO2 max averages between 48 and 50, which is pretty good. And so I highly suggest that. So strength training, mobility training, cardiovascular fitness of some kind, and nutrition and hydration, right? This is key. So you can't expect to burn a bunch of weight at jiu-jitsu and then go eat like crap and fast food and be full of cholesterol. Plus you're older, right? So you might be managing blood pressure and cholesterol levels and all these things. And you got to take care of those. And so nutrition, eat tons of protein and take creatine. Those to me are actually the 2 most important supplements or nutritional supplements you can take, and take them regularly. The protein per day is like a gram of protein per pound of body weight or killer. It depends on which scale you're looking at, but basically eat a lot of protein. Take 5 grams of creatine a day. Creatine monohydrate. It's cheap. You can get it everywhere. I use Jocko Fuel products. I am a affiliate of theirs, but I use all their products because the other stuff I take supplement wise is for my joints, which is Joint Warfare from Jocko Fuel. Krill oil for my heart. I take some vitamin D and vitamin K. And so, but protein is important. Fruits, vegetables, all that kind of stuff. Food pyramid, or the updated food pyramid, whatever it is. You know how to eat healthy if you're an older grappler. You've been around. But that doesn't mean you can't have tasty, good cheat food, right? But balance it. And you're going to burn 500-600, maybe if you do a long open mat one day, up to 1,000 calories a session. So the great thing about jiu-jitsu is it gives you some buffer to eat stuff that you want, but you can't just eat stuff that you want that's horrible for you all the time. Water. This is a huge thing. You need to be drinking water every day, all day, not just during class, because you're going to sweat pounds of sweat out. I am lighter in weight when I come home from my jiu-jitsu class or open mat than before I go there, and you will be too. So make sure your body always has enough water, and then you're going to have to backfill all that you take. Supplement wise, so I mentioned those, right? Krill oil, creatine, glucosamine, and I'm looking at a list, right? Because I have a script when I look at a podcast or a prompt and outline. The other supplement I highly recommend, and it's more for your sleep routine, because sleep hygiene, and this is one of the 7 pillars for a more balanced life that I talk about on the People Process Progress podcast, and will here too, and that I've put a lot of time and effort into, is sleep, and that's pillar 6. So clean up your sleep hygiene, because sleep's where we recover, right? That's the most important thing, especially when you're older. You have to get sleep. 7 hours is good. Turn off devices an hour or 2 before bed. Don't eat or drink a bunch of stuff an hour or 2 before bed, particularly alcohol. You don't sleep as good. But the supplement I recommend for sleep is an hour or 2 before bed, take magnesium glycinate. And I use Solari, I forget how you say it, but that's a really easy, it's like a veggie caplet to swallow. You'll feel it's a smooth muscle relaxer. Americans are largely deficient in magnesium anyway, but this really gives you it's one of the original, as they say, chill pills, but it's natural. It's not a narcotic, an opioid, anything like that, but it works very well. And it's also good for muscle recovery. Active recovery is another thing. So in addition to the exercise where you're actually going to push yourself, walk regularly. So I typically, on most days that I'm not in jiu-jitsu class, walk my dogs a mile before my workout, do my workout, and then make sure I get up at least once an hour throughout the day from my home office and move around. And that's very important, right? Throw some stretches in there. Again, stretching and mobility is just hugely important. You also get blood flow, right? We're getting older. You don't want to get blood clots in your legs, all that kind of stuff. And it reduces soreness. The last thing I'll say, so we've talked about strength training, mobility, cardiovascular conditioning, nutrition, hydration, sleep, active recovery, moving around a lot. Don't just sit around because you'll get super stiff. Professional help, right? And that's massages. So I've used massages both for my body and my mind, and they've been a huge help. But getting a deep tissue massage every couple weeks or even once a month is a game changer. For a little bit there, I was getting them once a week, but I was working through some anxious stuff. So it was really a holistic recovery thing. Once a week's a lot and it's expensive. But once a month is very much worth it. You're going to get the old Michael Keaton Batman neck where you turn your whole head to look around. Your lower back's going to be sore, your hamstrings, because if you've grappled or been to a couple classes, you know when you get smashed, your legs get pushed up and your back gets squished and you turn around and you twist. So it's good to get some help. If you get an injury, like after I broke my thumb or tore a ligament in my thumb, and I did physical therapy there and then on my own for my knee, my meniscus. And so if you have a nagging injury, say you get, an Americana and your shoulder hurts real bad and you're not sure how to fix it, go to physical therapy and they can give you exercises largely you can do with exercise bands and build that stuff up. There are some people ascribe to chiropractors. I don't. I've done them before. The best thing I got from them was I'd learned that, hey, if you lay on your bed and let from your shoulders on hang down, you can kind of stretch your spine out. I'm not big on adjustments, but I don't have them done, so I'm not going to speak to that. Another thing is acupuncture. I actually trained with a guy that was an acupuncturist or is, and I've tried that too, so that's pretty neat. But more so, the thing I'm familiar with, and I certainly recommend, is massage therapy, and then if you have nagging injuries, physical therapy. So as we close out, just remember, at least for me, I'm not trying to become an elite athlete, even though at 51, it's kind of elite to be doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu 3 days a week. And I hit a bench press PR last year. So don't let your age stop you. Do roll smarter. Maybe don't roll with the college wrestler. Consider who you're going to roll with. Be safe for that kind of stuff. We'll get into that in a future episode. But as far as taking care of yourself, get strong, stay strong, condition yourself, stretch, stay hydrated, eat good, supplement, sleep, be active in your recovery, and get professional help when you need to work through those kinks in your body. And enjoy the training, right? Enjoy your time off the mats. It's about consistency, right? Not trying to blast through and get there. Enjoy this journey. You're going to see a big difference. I know someone in their 60s that started, they lost probably at this point 50 pounds. You're going to burn the pounds off. It's awesome. So thank you all for listening to the Jiu Jitsu podcast. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Kevin Pennell 74. And there's the Pennell 5 Fitness Club, which I mentioned, which is my YouTube channel, which focuses on garage gym workouts largely. I also do talk about jiu-jitsu classes, so you get an after-action report from the classes I've been in, again, in 15, 30-second intervals, so they're quick-hit YouTube shorts. And if you're interested in leadership and project and program management, listen to the People Process Progress podcast. That's where I share what I've learned through the military, public safety, and the healthcare spaces. Thank you again for listening to the Jiu Jitsu podcast. In the meantime, breathe, frame, survive. Godspeed, y'all.